Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and to this build of the P51B, the RC conversion. So, I'm going now to start with the fuselage. The fuselage structure is very different from what I'm used to from the Towner models, so I'm not sure if this is an earlier style or a later style. On other models that I've done, like the Wellington and the P47, there are two basic stringers that go down, and then we have to build like half formers on top and half formers underneath. In this case, if you see, these are the formers. They're very, like, they're designed clearly for weight, because they're just like 1 millimeter thick strips and reinforced, so it's really very light. I'm not going to go with that because I think I'm going to need some strength, especially if it ever gets to fly and crash land. That's probably going to be too weak, so I've decided to go a bit of a different path. So I'm tracing out the models like with the masking tape approach, the formers with the masking tape approach, and then I cut them around, and then the plan is that I put some reinforcements, because just being one piece they fold and they could break, so I'll probably put in some reinforcements top and bottom, just to make sure they don't fold so much. But the strategy here, and it's good to read the instructions, and I move Thomas away, is to have the side stringers, I think they're called, basic stringers also called, and what I basically have to do with the basic stringers, I have to glue in the first former A, I haven't done it yet, and then at the end for the last former, basically glue these in place, the first and the last formers. I don't know if you can see it. And once they're in place, I need to come in and put in the other formers in their position and squeeze a little bit the structure out. So that is what's in the instructions, so I'll do it also that way. But as I say, it's a different approach, which why not? It's going to need a little bit of focus on where each position is going to be and things like that. But always glad to try new tactics. As you can see, I've got here a few already done. There's one for the dashboard. This one goes here, I believe. I've got A, B, C, D and E. F is in the process, then G. Where is H? There's H, where I don't know, it's up here. And then other extra formers for the underside of the scoop, of the oil cooler scoop, I believe this was supposed to be. So still will do the formers. At the same time, I have to think where I'm going to put in the battery hatch, which I think I'm going to take the first 3 sections. It's going to be a huge battery hatch, but I'll probably build it in structure, then cut off, and then basically build it again, like to make sure that it fits well. And I also have to figure out where the engine is going to go, right? I have here the construction. These are the engine. This is an engine from Ray. So I've got the motor, a heavy one, hopefully also strong. I've got the near C, which is for 30 amps, I think more than enough, and I've got the receiver. I believe I did test it once, and I've got to plant the motor in here. So for this I'm going to need to put in another former that is not actually in the plan, so I'm going to have to design it, and I'll probably do that out of ply. So once I have this kind of set up, then I'll do the former to actually do the, what you call the firewall would be, or basically where the engine will mount, and then figure out how to put it in there, and basically then put in the electronics and build around them. So I might need to do some let's say fiddly parts and cutting and fitting things. So that is the plan. I don't think I'm going to get to that on this chapter. First I want to do then the structure of the fuselage, and once the structure is there, then I have to start to put in the thinner stringers, the smaller stringers, that then will be basically, as you see here on the plan, like things like 1 millimeter, maybe a bit more, like going from front to back, and building like that the fuselage. So as you see, I've already got some of the formers ready. I think it's close to start to do the magic trick of gluing the first and the last former in place, and soon also to start to fit in the motor. So follow me along on this one. This is going to be an interesting one, at least for me, because it's a completely different tactic. So just a short update. So I've got pretty much all the formers made up. With some of them I've already put the reinforcement strips so that they don't bend. Some don't have it yet, so I still have to do it. And I've joined also the 2 basic stringers as you can see, if I go backwards and forwards. So I've connected them with the last post and with the, let's say, not the engine mount, actually just the what goes behind the propeller, so in front of the engine. And I do hope the hole is big enough for the engine. I think it is. And what I've done also, I've put in former number C or letter C in place to keep it in somehow, to start to give it a shape. And now the glue is still setting, so I'm going to wait for that to set. Then I'll go on populating the formers in and starting to get that shape of the fuselage. So just wanted to show you that somehow the fuselage has become a 3D object already, not just multiple 2D ones. Let me try to get an update on the fuselage. So I managed to put it all together. It wasn't as easy as it might sound, because I needed to try to get it as straight as possible, right? And it's not completely, but it's as close as I could get it. It was actually worse. I had to do some fixing, and I put in all the fuselage formers in. I ordered puts also two of the stringers, one on each side. I'm using this set that is remaining from the Hurricane, from the Dumas Hurricane that I got from Ray, because why not, right? So trying to use that material up, and basically the structure is there. And what I'm doing now, I've tried to reverse engineer a piece that is going to come in here, which is going to be kind of the firewall or the engine mount. Here it is, kind of guessing it'll come in here somehow. And on this, once I cut out a hole for the cables and for ventilation to go through, then I need to mount the engine on it. And once I mount the engine on it, I'm looking at it now, I think I might need to make the hole even a little bit bigger. Then I'll have to figure out how to fix this onto the fuselage itself. It's quite heavy, so somehow the support needs to be quite good. So I've got to figure that out. So I'm basically just putting the skeleton of the fuselage together. Then I'll try to build in the places for the servos, for the battery and things like that, and build around that. Another thing I'm doing, if you wait a second, or I try to do at least, is here's the wing, and I've got to figure out how this goes in, like somehow to match it up. This former goes in, or former D actually, not D1, former D goes here in front of the spar. I need to kind of adjust it. I might need to adjust a bit of the wing here so that this former also goes down, as now the incidence is actually completely off. Has to be more something like that. So again, maybe some adjustments, some sanding down, some cutting, maybe some replacing of pieces and things like that on the wing also. So that is actually quite fun stuff, trying to adjust things. And what I've done also, I've connected already the servos. I have to do then the final test because I still got the servo pieces covered, but moving along. So some productive days behind me. Let's see if I keep up the rhythm. And time to wrap up this video, because I've done some progress and I want to tell you about it. So I've now managed to adjust the formers to fit the wing in place. I think it's pretty much there. I had to mark on the formers the height of the wing. You can't probably see it, which is probably good, but there's some lines there. Sorry, there's some lines there on the formers. I had to trim a little bit here and there, but I think this is kind of the attitude that it's going to need, like the incidence, the angle of incidence that it's going to need. So I'm hoping that that's okay. So now, let me take it off without damaging anything. Easier said than done, right? This is what I use the clamps, and then I can show you also. Okay, so let's leave the wing there. And what I've been doing here, I'm going to reuse the middle of the formers to do kind of shelves for the things. So this one will come in here, is the plank, and there on it I'll put then the battery and maybe the receiver. On this other one that I'm taking off now, I want to put on the ESC and probably kind of fix it in there. I'm a little bit afraid that the weight might come very much to the front because the engine is quite heavy. And then what I've done, I've put in some reinforcements here. You might be able to see the glue is still wet, and I kind of saw it coming while I was doing it. Now I have no way of actually mounting the engine inside. Even if I take off the spinner and everything, I can't squeeze it in basically. So I'm going to have to pull this former off. It's come undone a couple of times, so no reason why it can't come undone another time. And then when I get the motor actually finally mounted, then I'll glue it actually in place. So motors are not supposed to be changed, so I hope it's going to be fine. But that's going to be then when I have more of the structure in place, then I'll come in and mount everything together. So that's the plan. And then the next steps is going to be to build some kind of a servo tray, probably in the cockpit area here, and then figure out also what way the push rods are going to go to the back. So that's going to be the next thing. Once I have that somehow figured out and the angle of incidence and everything with the wing prepared, then I'll continue with the building of the fuselage structure and the battery hatch. The battery hatch is a big project in itself. It's going to be these two bays, because the motor is here, and this is going to be covered up, and then from here up to the instrument panel on this side. I haven't done that actually. So these two bays are going to be then the battery hatch. I need to put some supports and figure it out, and maybe watch some videos from Skippy. He's the expert on battery hatches, and like this somehow it's continuing. So as I say, I leave it here because it's still going to take some time to do some progress. So as always, thank you everybody very much for following along, and I'll see you next time.